let's get into how to turn your art into a digital asset.
Okay. So let's talk about the digital asset. I think it's everybody wants to know how to turn my art, your art, our art into a digital asset. But yeah, it's kind of a hard topic, I think. But you are not too late. Understand the why before the how. So what do you think about it, Justin?
Well, I want to say, first of all, if you're an artist over 40 and you're navigating digital assets, now that's traditional artists, digital artists. A lot of us have been traditional artists and are still traditional artists, but we have, of course, worked our way into the digital world. If you haven't, I'm not sure how you're surviving. And if you are surviving in a major way, please let me know what you're doing. Share it with us.
Send tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks. Send it. Yeah. This channel's for you, essentially. We dive in. We're all creators in so many different ways, and we understand that the world has been changing forever. It doesn't stop changing. And of course, now we have even more interesting things with artificial intelligence. Some artists are against it. Some artists are absolutely for it. Some of us are leveraging it to give us maybe some more clarity to better target our distribution, to do research and things like that. So I'm totally not against it. I think we can use it in very cool ways. So turning art into digital assets, to me, is fascinating. I mean, as a matter of fact, this is how I first met Hiroyo, through NFT collections, okay? And then this is also how we're building a structure with our junk comic. Of course, this is created by Danny and the amazing writer Dave Pigeon, right? So, of course, the links will be in the description for a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today. If you guys want to actually order a copy of Junk, which I absolutely think you should, because I don't want to brag, but I've got my copy and it's absolutely incredible. I think the writing is super fantastic. The art, the coloring, it's really nice. And I didn't make it, so, click the link in the description. I'll keep it simple. Like, it's not mine, but I love it so much. But what we're doing is essentially creating digital assets with Junk. So if you guys want to be part of the journey, of course, you know where to join. Hit the link for school in the description. And Hiroyo, tell us a little bit about what it means to you to turn art into digital assets, and maybe share a bit of your journey.
Digital asset is about creative equity. When I create something, music or whatever, art or something, it's just the product or thing I want to keep longer. So that is the digital asset. So this is what I really, really wanted. When Justin met me, I created some NFTs. A lot of people think about how it's so difficult. What do you think, Danny? Do you think it's difficult, your art into a digital asset?
Apparently not, because the more that we've talked to each other, I realize that, an illustrator, character designer, or artist of any kind can basically really capitalize in this area. You can actually own these assets and be able to share them for people to purchase through blockchain. And, there's such things as character profiles that you can do. I'm learning about dynamic NFTs, where you can actually have art that evolves over time. If there's either, stays in the collector's wallet, that you can upgrade the art as it goes along. You can make it like a collection piece. So everything from panels from the comics, we could do hybrids of music with visuals. You can do animated sprites. All these things can become digital assets, and it kind of makes your head swirl because you start to get all these ideas, and it can be as simple as a static image or 8-bit art, or it can be as complex as synthesizing visualizers with your self-produced music. Hint, hint, Mr. Blends. Yeah. So I'm slowly realizing that this is going to be a big opportunity for artists and for myself. Just the fact that Junk's now off the ground, that we can, create some structure and some ownership in this whole game, and therefore create some equity and some value into the things that we're creating, and not be held to the old ways of waiting for that call from whoever Mr. Moneybags is going to be. Now it's going to be you. So
Nice.
Yeah, right. If you don't own your work, someone else captures the upside, I think.
Yeah. Especially someone with a bigger platform, more reach than you. They can look at you with nothing, go, I'll take some of that. And, you're left without that, but now it's time to create your own stage and to be able to put your hat in the ground.
That is crazy. I can see the evolution. You're getting a chance to now see the outlets, the opportunities. You have various platforms, whether it be YouTube or something from Meta, or, you know, fill in the blank. There's so many different platforms.
Yeah.
You've used them, you've kind of maybe even exhausted them, and maybe the returns are minimal. Maybe there's like high effort. Maybe we're chasing some type of followers and chasing some.
I think it's like chasing a world that's dead and gone almost, in a way, especially in this kind of, you know, and you coming from the music industry, you know exactly what that's like. And I think if you're into, both of you, yes, I see Hiroyo almost faint. It's if you're into storytelling, visual storytelling, I think this is the space that's very just advantageous towards you, because if it's all about evolving art, it's all about storytelling and collecting. If you're making little, again, I'll speak as an illustrator, if you're creating the junk world, if there's, you know, maps, if there's little trinkets and little, like if it's items that belong in a collection of like certain characters, you can create your entire roster and the lore and the world of whatever that you're coming up with. This is the area where like-minded psychopaths that like to collect things and trade money for them. If you're creating these things, it's all there for them to be a part of the world that you're creating and the story that you're telling. And that's what we do. I know you guys do it through music. I do it through my visuals, is that you want to tell stories. Humans love to create stories and to have people listen to their stories and understand their stories. And this is just a different way of creating stories and having people be a part of the story that you tell.
I want to show a couple of things. Now, these are some websites. These are tools that you can use. And the reason why I'm showing them is not to show you that this is the only way. There are so many platforms, but these ones are created by some of the most interesting people in the Bitcoin ordinal space. So these are examples of platforms you can use to actually create digital assets from your art. Now, this is a platform that's kind of more based on trading cards. Yeah. A lot of these creators are just like you and I. They've created some cool art.
They made their art. That's all
they made their art. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you and I can decide to participate, to mint or not to mint. But in this case, because it's on Bitcoin, we call it inscribe. So NFTs.
Can you just jump back, just like for someone who's completely uninitiated, what does that mean to mint something, or you know, to what you just talked about?
So the idea is actually of minting or inscribing is essentially to put this asset on chain. So give it a unique identifier. So the word NFT, or non-fungible token, simply could be considered to be a unique token. Just think of the word non-fungible. It's not replaceable. It's not duplicatable, but it simply means unique. So even though we could, as an example, have the same picture, let's just say any one of these pictures, 1,000 pieces of the exact same picture, well, each of them would have its own unique identifier.
It's like a Rolex watch. It's got its own serial, right?
There you
go.
Right.
Yep.
So this is just a great example. These two websites I'm going to show first are just examples of launch pads that are created. And a launch pad is a place where you can launch a token or launch some type of asset. And I'm showing these two because I know that these two creators, the creators of this platform and this platform, they will be here when most people are gone, when the hype is not around, when there's no excitement, or when there's no huge demand. They will continue to create. So I'm showing them first because I believe in what they're doing. Let me just make that super clear, okay? And also, I think it fits into a lot of this art idea for people who are visual artists, digital artists, traditional artists who want to put their stuff on chain. The reason why I typically would say go for Bitcoin, of course, you can drop NFTs on many blockchains, but the thing is that the world knows Bitcoin. It's the biggest marketing platform for all digital assets. And it's actually the simplest of all blockchains, but it's also the most complicated. It sounds really odd to say. The simplest thing is the most complicated. Let's look at it like this. People can go buy fast food, but probably it's better to just cook some good food at home with real everyday ingredients. But it's potentially more complicated to do that. The reason why we're going to Bitcoin first is because Bitcoin is really cultural in a sense. Each time you inscribe an asset, so I'll show you a couple of pages where you can inscribe an asset. You could simply go to this website and choose the type of asset you want to put on the blockchain, and you can pay for it one time. So it's a one-time fee to place your asset directly on Bitcoin, and you could then allow it to be viewed by anybody. That's not necessarily a main selling point. I mean, it could be, because each wallet, let's just say we have a junk wallet, great example, we could actually have the junk wallet become a gallery. So we can make a website that just hosts all of the assets that are in the junk wallet and essentially turn it into a three-dimensional gallery or some type of experience where people could just view the assets. Now, it's more than that. Anybody's wallet could be a gallery. We could create our own website. See how this is very static? It's very simple. It shows all of the different inscriptions that are happening right now, the latest inscriptions on Bitcoin. These are inscribed assets. They're directly put on the blockchain and they cannot be deleted. They cannot be erased. They're just there permanently. Again, permanent storage, one-time fee. So, of course, it's deeper and a little more complicated than that. This is, of course, why I would strongly recommend people join us in school, join the live calls in the community, and, of course, just be part of the movement and learn why it's so relevant and so important to create digital assets. Because your art on any currently existing, maybe we call it Web 2 platform, can disappear at any time. People can get canceled. The platform could go dead. They could turn off their servers. They could do whatever to the database, the storage. But on a blockchain, it's a shared public ledger and the record is immutable. It can't be deleted. It can't be updated. You get the point. It can't be changed. And therefore, your assets, your information, your art, your images are going to exist as long as the blockchain exists. And so that's why I look at Bitcoin as the number one.
Yeah, build asset, just not as moments.
It's going to live forever.
So aside from Bitcoin, this is, of course, one of the next, biggest blockchains, and it is Ethereum. There are many NFTs that are launched on Ethereum. They're still quite different from inscriptions in the sense that they can be manipulated in some sense on the blockchain, whereas inscriptions are permanent one-time storage assets. And again, this is why the target is Bitcoin. If you can figure it out and get your assets on Bitcoin and actually make a splash, and Hiroyo knows why. I'm curious to know why you're laughing, but I think I know why. If you can actually smash on Bitcoin, then you can smash on any blockchain. That's why the target is Bitcoin. Hiroyo, let me know your thoughts.
I just figure out how much you love Bitcoin, but also I understand Bitcoin is forever. It's easy to say, simply to say. I believe more about Bitcoin, doing something on a Bitcoin is kind of the truly digital asset on chain.
I want to ask a question. And of course, we can dive so much deeper into this, guys. Check all the videos, check the link in the description. I want you guys all to grab Junk and leave your comments on what you want to see for Junk as far as whether we put it on chain in card form, let's say collectibles, whether you guys want it in token form and we drop a bunch of memes and just have like a meme coin fun time, or if you want something deeper, so let's say a utility token or utility NFTs as an example, or utility Bitcoin inscriptions, where you can have this asset in your wallet and it could be used as a key or some type of membership that gives you permission to view other things, or even just to receive more art just because you have the main let's say the main asset or the main collection. There are so many ways you can play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I got inspired by, there's a few things, especially when referring to Junk and referring to collections. There's an interesting opportunity just coming up with ideas now of this property is, been kicking around since 1997, which is, almost 30 years now, which is crazy to think about. But it's the evolution of the characters and then the art is its own collection in and of itself. I have art that dates all the way back 30 years, and as it picks up every couple of years to see how the art actually evolves and the journey and the lore of the entire thing, like that, a gallery of digital assets, just breadcrumbing the history throughout the entire thing is an idea that could be leveraged.
Create one, benefit many times.
Oof, look, that is crazy. Scarcity builds equity, of course, right? And at this point in time, we're starting to understand more and more that ownership beats followers. We, of course, want more and more followers, but the ownership aspect is something that we've lost multiple times as artists as we switch from new platform to platform, and we just keep obliterating our our connections that we've created so much on so many platforms. This is why blockchains in a way can help to create something more unified and something more long lasting. I want to ask everybody one question. What has been your biggest hesitation? And we'll check you guys in the next one.